Hello to the Dane gang. Sister, I was just watching your video and, you were talking to the ladies there and about prophecy and all that's going on in the world. It was almost a 1 hour long video. And this is the book, that I got my first tour to Korea. And I was up on the DMZ. I was there 77 to 78. It was a really good tour. And, well, anyways, this is what we're talking about, right? There he is, the troublemaker little baby. All right, you. Well, as you know, my wife had been gone. Her and one of our daughters, were taking that trip overseas. And I'm home alone for a month. She went with her, only she's 41 years old now. And so we're overseas. She's overseas, and I'm home. And this is what all took place. Yeah. This is just so you know. And here we go. I'm doing my thing, looking at old YouTube and looking at different things. And this here is from a Christian channel. The guy preaches, and it's a very good channel. He's got a different approach, and he probably attracts people that never would probably hear the word of God, but he does it through comic books. And this comic book's pretty old, I don't know when, but 25 cents. It's been a long time since comic books were 25 cents. I remember when they were 10 cents, but when they got up to 15 cents, I thought they'd gone insane. And, this was like, I don't know, probably about 1968, I'm guessing. But I'm looking, and this particular, he's showing all these different pictures, and this comes up, and I about fainted. I about fainted because of everything I'd been looking at and going through in my head before this came up. And I says, oh my God, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Yeah. Do you believe it? They're being about to be overran by the enemy, and he's saying, well, I'll let you read it. And this has a lot to do with what you were talking to those ladies about. We're about to be persecuted. And, that's great, isn't it? And it's very difficult to think about stuff like this. But, you got to fight fire with fire, but it doesn't mean you got to use weapons. It is a spiritual war when you're, a Christian, believing in Jesus and trying to do things the right way. I'm going to talk a little bit here. So, I was watching, like I says, a lot of TV, and one thing leads to another. And, I do believe that God leads us down a path and brings us to like a place where we can be comforted. And what went on with me was this. I get frustrated, and you go and you can listen to a million preachers, and they all got their own thing they're throwing at you. And sometimes you got to just make it simple. And this is how it happened with me. And I was listening to something else, some background noise. So let's get to that background noise. And I know that this will be helpful to you, and you can share this with people when you're talking to them. People like me that can get, don't know which way to turn. And you get so, like angry because it's like everybody's saying this, that, and the other thing, when it's all very, very simple. It is so simple. And I believe God led me to this. So here we go. By the way, I don't think I already said it, but I'm going to say it, and that's hello to the Dane gang. Hey, Dane gang, we got a Roy Rogers show coming up for you. 193 Roy Rogers shows, as a matter of fact, but there's one I want to focus on. And let's get to that. It was this episode here. I had it playing in the background. I'm in the house and I'm cleaning and doing things, and it was season 4, episode 17, The Ginger Horse. And I'm listening to it, and they start singing a song in it. And by the time it ended, I said, I'm going to look up that song because somehow I think I'm supposed to listen to this song. So I go in and I type in the name of the song, a song that I haven't heard since I was probably a little kid, but this song changed the way I think. And there it is. The Bible Tells Me So. Believe it or not, it was written by Dale Evans. I did not know that. Yep, she wrote it. In this little song, you can see it's 1 minute and 38 seconds long. It was kind of written for little kids, little children. Imagine that, a record for 25 cents. It's just like the comic book, eh? Pretty crazy, huh? And I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow. And so then I listened to the lyrics. 1 minute and 26 seconds. And those lyrics, it says it all right there. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just be real good today. The Lord is right beside you. He'll guide you all the way. And the rest, all the lyrics in this song are just perfect for a person that gets confused by all the different people. Look at that, Mitch Miller. But she wrote it. And, oh, what can I say? They put out albums, it was all spiritual type songs. And sometimes, this is the music a person like me needs to listen to. Here is a longer version of it and they pictured here with some of their children. And that little kid there, and that little girl there, and there's another girl that they had that's not in the picture. And wow, you're going to know why I'm saying wow in a little bit. Man, everything just tore me up. It really did. Sister, I know you talk to a lot of women. And, I mean, Roy Rogers and Dale Evans weren't Catholic, but she wrote some pretty good stuff. And this testimony of hers, it's on YouTube, it just blew my mind. And anybody that's got troubles, listen to what she's got to say. And she isn't making any of it up. It starts off the guys, talking about her, and you hear her talk some, but then he says, all right, he goes, now let's listen to her testimony. And when you hear it, you're going to be shocked. I was shocked when I found out that the song I was listening to, and I go to it, that she wrote it, because and then when I hear her testimony, it was like just inspiring. And it all goes to that, don't worry about tomorrow, just be real good today. That's all us little people need to remember. When we get troubled, that's all we need to remember. And there's a lot of other lines in that song about do good to your enemies and have faith, hope, and charity. A lot of people, I don't think, really know what the word charity means. To me, charity means forgiveness. Just Sister Ann. There he is. He always gets up here and makes a mess of things. And then I have to straighten it all back out. But what can you do when you got a goofus cat that likes to follow you around? I just want to say that a lot of times I get trouble and I think it's time to fight. And then I realize that, yes, it's time to fight, but it's time to fight myself spiritually and to make myself stronger and be able to just, it's like, that book about us. And somehow I've got to get myself ready because we're there. You know, what you're talking about in your latest message and the secrets. Well, those secrets are no longer secrets. We're here. We're here. And stuff's happening very fast. And that 3 days of darkness, you know, when they talked about that, they said that, you know, these are people that were living so long ago, and they're talking about seeing, you know, all these demons coming and trashing the place. Well, now the way things are going, you've seen these blackouts in different countries. That one recently, I believe, was in Spain. It's going to happen worldwide, but and then the demons that they saw in those visions, you know, I mean, just look at the people running around today, the way they look. If you had a vision and you were back 3, 4, 500 years ago and you saw this, you would think that you were looking at demons. And everything's coming. There's a great shaking coming on. And God bless you. And Miss Pauline, I know you like old Roy Rogers and Dale Evans and all those people. And, you know, you can learn a lot from simple little things. Yeah. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just be really good today. Therefore, do not be anxious for tomorrow will care for itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. You know what I'm saying? Have a great day. Thanks for talking with me.